Become a patron at www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm for hard to find books, scans of rare photos, and articles on the golden era of bodybuilding. Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here. Today I'd like to talk about Sandow's second system of bodybuilding. After I introduced Sandow's Light Dumbbell System, many people began to comment that Sandow's Light Dumbbell System seemed to contain many movements for training the biceps and shoulders, and not many exercises for the back or triceps, almost hinting that it was not balanced and missing something. It is interesting to note that over 100 years ago, Eugene Sandow himself and his students made the same observation, and Eugene Sandow was forced to correct this. He therefore came up with a second system of bodybuilding which incorporated the use of cables in the form of a chest expander. Today I'm going to reveal Sandow's second system of bodybuilding, which is the Sandow Chest Expander course, and list the exercises involved in this system of bodybuilding. Enjoy! Now, the light dumbbell system is an excellent method for resistance training for the person who can only train at home, made more relevant in these present times with the rapid spread of the coronavirus. It requires little time and minimal equipment, in fact, only a 5-pound dumbbell, and achieves excellent results. However, if we critically evaluate and dissect Sandow's light dumbbell system, we find that it mainly consists of the following exercises. They are 4 bicep exercises, 3 chest exercises, 4 shoulder exercises, 3 wrist and forearm exercises, 2 abdominal exercises, and 1 exercise for quads and calves. Now, to the advanced student who may have been taught even by Eugene Sandow himself, they may have understood that these exercises, when performed correctly, actually do train the posterior muscles of the back and the triceps. However, to the average person, the light dumbbell system has a very heavy emphasis on anterior muscles only, with a real lack of posterior work. For this and other reasons, Eugene Sandow received several complaints, and Sandow was forced to revise the light dumbbell system several times, in fact, eventually simplifying the light dumbbell system. But this wasn't even enough. Still, when you practice the light dumbbell system yourself, you realize very quickly that there is indeed a heavy emphasis on exercises for the anterior muscles, with a major lack of exercises that work the posterior muscles. In fact, one could even say that there is a heavy emphasis of movements that involve pushing, pressing, curling, and contraction, with a real lack of movements that involve pulling, rowing, and extension. Sandow's solution was simple. In his second book, called Strength and How to Obtain It, he addressed many concerns about the light dumbbell system, but more importantly introduced the Sandow Developer, a cable station apparatus for the home that could be attached to doors and walls, as shown here in this wonderful photo of Sandow. It could also be converted into a chest expander apparatus and used to perform movements for ribcage expansion. Overall, this new system of bodybuilding introduced, more importantly, the movements of pulling and extension, and therefore, combined with the light dumbbell system, made for a complete home workout. Here we have 2 photos, one showing the Sandow's Developer on the left and the chest expander on the right, which came a little bit later. Talking about the Sandow's Developer, which, as I mentioned before, could be converted into a chest expander or could be attached to walls and doors and work as a cable station, it's important to note that it consisted of rubber bands, while the chest expander consisted of steel springs. Regardless, the idea was that it introduced variable and progressive resistance into one's training, and therefore, as one began to train with either the chest expander or the developer, you would start off with a single rubber band or spring, and as you adapted and you got stronger, you would increase the number of springs or rubber bands as you to obviously increase the resistance as you got stronger. Here is a list of the exercises that were to be performed with a Sandow's chest expander. And as you will see, the focus of this bodybuilding system is completely different to the light dumbbell system. One could say it's almost an opposite to that of the light dumbbell system, in that it focuses heavily on working the triceps, the shoulder girdle, that is the rotator cuffs, as well as the large back muscles. Now we can see here listed, we've got the standing erect pull apart, which works the upper back, rear delt and traps, the triceps extension to the sides, single arm tricep extension also towards the side, a punch out to the sides, bow and arrow tricep extension, the overhead pull apart, which works the lats, the overhead pull apart, a second variation, which works again the lats, but also the upper back, a single arm overhead press, a single arm behind the neck press, a lateral raise variation 1, lateral raise variation 2, the single arm overhead triceps extension, a bent over rear delt pull apart, a crucifix tricep extension, and 2 variations of abdominal twists. Again, it's very hard to I guess imagine all of this, but I am going to now provide some diagrams which will kind of give you an idea as to how these exercises were performed. You have to understand that these were performed all with a chest expander. Now here we have a special chart of exercises for use with the Sandow developer arranged as a chest expander. As I mentioned before, the Sandow developer essentially was an apparatus that could be converted into either a chest expander or mounted on the wall to be used as a cable station. And as you can see from the pictures here that came with the chart of exercises, originally this chart of exercises I believe came with Strength and How to Obtain It, Sandow's book, Sandow's second book. You can see that the exercises are supposed to be mainly targeting the triceps and shoulder girdle as well as the back musculature, because they all involve some kind of extension or pulling. And that's the important thing to note with this second system of bodybuilding, is that the exercises basically were opposite to all of the pushing, pressing and contracting, curling actions that were clearly seen in the light dumbbell system. Because now we are using cables, essentially this allows us to extend the arm to work the triceps, or pull it back somehow to work the shoulder girdle and lat muscles. Now, if you doubt the effectiveness of the chest expander and these pieces of strand pulling equipment, just look at these photos. Here we have the incredible John Grimmick performing a variety of strand pulling exercises with, I believe, a York strand puller or a York chest expander, which came later on, of course. John Grimmick, if you didn't know, was a great advocate of chest expanders and strand pulling apparatuses, and he attributes much of his development, of course, to these wonderful pieces of home gym equipment. Similarly, Reg Park was also an advocate of the chest expander and came out with his own chest expander, actually with his company, the Reg Barbell Equipment Company, and he came out with a chest expander course, which I may one day make available again. Again, you can see very similar exercises to the ones listed before, with a bunch of pull aparts and punch outs to the side, all working the posterior musculature. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Sandow's different systems of bodybuilding, he's got the light dumbbell system well explained in Sandow's system of physical training, as well as in Strength and How to Obtain It. But if you're also interested in learning about Sandow's second system, that is the use of the chest expander or the Sandow developer, I've got a new booklet up called Sandow's chest expander booklet. It's the one right in the middle here, Sandow's chest expander booklet, and it's got all the exercises that I've listed today, which work the triceps, back and shoulder girdle. And essentially, if you combine it with the light dumbbell system, you're going to find you're going to have a proper full workout, right? You're also going to find some mentions of the chest expander apparatus and developer in Strength and How to Obtain It. All of these titles are available and much more on Eugene Sandow and his system of bodybuilding on www.goldenerabookroom.com. So I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video on Eugene Sandow's second system of bodybuilding. Truly, after discovering this myself, I realized that Sandow always was trying to evolve his system, to improve it. He was definitely not just a master of the iron game, but also a student of it. And it's very obvious to see as he revised his system over and over again, improved it over time to now expand on the apparatus that he would also sell to make sure that people could practice physical culture at home. And so there you have it. The two major systems that Eugene Sandow came up with were the Light Dumbbell System and then the Chest Expander course. If you've enjoyed watching the video, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't to the Golden Era Bookworm, leave me your comments, and thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my research, please donate via PayPal, subscribe to my Patreon account, visit my website www.goldenerabookworm.com for out-of-print books and courses, especially on Eugene Sandow. I've got many of his books up on my website, and please get in touch if you wish to collaborate or pass on your literature or bodybuilding relics. That's it for me. Hope you've enjoyed the video. This is the Golden Era Bookworm. Bye for now. To take full advantage of my collaboration with Old School Labs, please visit their website and choose from their marvelous range of supplements using my code Bookworm12. And for an entertaining look at the history of bodybuilding's supplement industry, I would highly recommend watching Subs the Movie, which I have collaborated in, available at Amazon Prime and Vimeo.